Hello and welcome to the final team selection video of the Champions League stage. We're now into match day 8 and it's going to be a very interesting match day. If you don't know already or if you haven't had a look at it, every single match is going to be kicking off at 8 PM on Wednesday night. So we're going to have all 18 matches on at the same time and it's going to be absolutely fantastic watching. Again, a couple of changes to the Champions League fantasy for this week. Obviously the bench doesn't matter and we're only going to get one captain, so it's going to be very interesting. If you've got a chip, definitely be looking to use it in this game or in this match day because it could be very useful, with some teams rotating and then some teams with, you know, must win, must draw kind of matches. So looking at my team from last week, it was a bit of a stinky match day. I only get 68 points, but I was really expecting a much bigger red arrow than what I got. I only dropped about 3,000 places down to 6,700, which I'm still more than happy with being in that position, by the end of the league stage. So again, you can take a look at the team and you can see it was a little bit stinky. There's a lot of 2-pointers, a lot of 3-pointers in there, and it just wasn't really too great. Musiala wasn't ideal, Kun wasn't too great against young boys. The whole defence was pretty poor. I think that's kind of where the big, the big differences came from with my team and people who done well this week was in the defence. I did see quite a few people with Atalanta defenders who all done fantastically, especially if you brought Hein in after last week. He was, he crept into the top 10 for ball recoveries. A few people brought him in, especially with the late news of Bellanova not being in the squad. Milan also picked up a clean sheet where, Theo Hernandez is a popular pick. Celtic picked up a clean sheet. I know a lot of people have like Austin Trusty. He's one of the cheapest defenders in the game. Arsenal also kept a clean sheet. So there's just a lot of clean sheets all over the place. And unfortunately with my team, the regular players for ball recoveries weren't performing. I think Pacho only got one ball recovery this week, despite being the top performer for ball recoveries in the game. Alexandro never really done too well. He only got 3 points. He's the second highest ball recovery player in the game, so no real good points in the defence. Timber got brought off in the 59th minute, so I was, that lost 5 points from like 30 seconds, just like that. And actually, that 5 points probably would have turned a pretty bad game week into an average game week if I'd have got 73 there. But yeah, missed out on Rafinha's big haul as well. He picked up a 16-pointer, obviously one of the most owned players in the game, which wasn't great. And I think that is why I did expect to fall as far as I did. But thankfully, it wasn't really too bad. Only 6,700th in the world, which again, like I said, still very happy with that rank. So I'm not going to jump into the current league standings and all of that stuff, what it means for, most teams in the final match day. I did all of that in yesterday's video, which was the best possible team for match day 8. We looked at absolutely everything that you need, basically, to build a good match day 8 team. So I will link that video at the end. Make sure you go and give that a watch if you haven't already. Today we're just going to look at clean sheet odds and goal odds before looking at my transfers for this week. So the clean sheet odds for match day 8, there is a few teams in here who look absolutely essential for picking up a defender. The first one being Bayern Munich. They're obviously playing against Slovan Bratislava. You 100% want to be picking up a triple up for Bayern Munich. I did see a tweet today from Bayern in Germany, which is probably the most reliable news source on Twitter for Bayern Munich news, and they've basically said in the Bayern Munich dressing room there is belief that they can go and get a top 8 finish, which is very unlikely, but essentially they need to beat Bratislava 8-0 or more to make that top 8 finish, which is definitely possible. Bratislava are probably the worst team in the competition, so they need to go and win by about 8 goals, and it's very tempting to go for that, Bayern triple attack, Kane, Musiala, Olise, that kind of thing, but I definitely think a defender's still a good option. Maybe if you've got good, or if you wanted to spread the midfield and attack, I think a defender is a good pick. There is some problems with Kim. Obviously, he's in my team at the minute. He had some, I want to say, an Achilles injury, so he left training early yesterday. Still waiting on news for that. He is still in the predicted lineups as it stands, but obviously for all these games we are going to see every single lineup, so you don't have to worry too much until an hour before the deadline pretty much. So Kim's going to stay in there for me. Hopefully he does make that lineup. Leverkusen, a must-win game against Sparta Prague. As we all know, the best Leverkusen triple up goes Wirtz, Grimaldo and Frimpong. So if you're on a chip this week, Grimaldo and Frimpong look absolutely fantastic. Grimaldo, I think, would be the better one of the two. He is one of the top point scorers in the entire competition so far, and again, second for clean sheet odds, so definitely want to be looking there. For the rest, as you can see on screen, a couple of green ones in there. City, Atletico, Sporting and Dortmund, also nice options. Now, the over 2.5 goal odds is where it really looks interesting. Bayern Munich have an 85% chance of picking up over 2.5 goal odds. Now, if you wanted to, kind of mix in a little bit with the goal odds and the clean sheet odds, Alphonso Davies picked up an injury in last week's UCL match, which means Guerreiro is going to be the starting left back for Bayern. Now, if you've played UCL Fantasy in previous years, you'll know he has been absolutely brilliant whenever he plays. Attack and return are, very likely whenever he starts, and of course you're going to have the clean sheet odds as well, the clean sheet chances. So if you're on a limitless, if you're on a wild card, I'd definitely be looking at Guerreiro as potentially your third Bayern player along with the two attackers. Leverkusen, of course, in there as well. Maybe you could go for Schick up front as a massive differential. I think Wirtz is basically essential. You get Man City in there, Foden and Haaland, also really nice options. I currently don't have a Man City in my team, and I don't think I plan on getting one in. I think Bruges are a bit of a stronger opponent than people are expecting, but I definitely expect City to get a couple of goals. I think Foden could do really well. Real Madrid, Dortmund and Milan in there as well. Everyone knows, Mbappe, Guirassy, two strikers who have been absolutely brilliant. Pulisic is now back from his injury, so he's going to be available in midfield. There is just lots and lots of options this week. So for me, as the bench doesn't matter, I am just kind of taking out expensive players that I don't really plan on playing just in case I need to take like a last minute hit. So Vinicius Junior's coming out, of course, he's suspended. He picked up a yellow card, unfortunately, in matchday 7. Could be a bit of a blessing in disguise, however, it's just an easy transfer to Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane and Wirtz are probably the two most essential players to have in matchday 8. I think they're going to be your two best captaincy options as well. So Kane's coming in, definitely. Bratislava in a game where they're trying to go and win 8-9-0. Kane obviously being the striker, and on penalties, I'm expecting him to do really nicely. Van Dijk's coming out just for the sake of it. I wasn't really looking to play Van Dijk against PSV away from home, so he's coming out. That really could just be anyone, because he would be sitting on the bench anyway, so I'm not really too bothered. And Grimaldo is going to be coming in as well. So Kane and Grimaldo, my two transfers, two players who I think could do brilliantly. Again, Grimaldo, fantastic for attack and returns, and they're second with an over 50% chance of picking up a clean sheet. So this is how the team looks right now. I will show you the bench in just a minute. Obviously, I've not confirmed my transfers, so I can't go over how the exact bench is going to look. But this is how it looks like with the transfers in place. A very strong team, in my opinion. I feel like I've set myself up quite nicely this week. Obviously brought Wirtz in last week. He was a transfer kind of in preparation for this week. Unfortunately, didn't do well against Atletico Madrid last week, so that wasn't ideal. But now I don't have to worry about taking a -4, and it lets me get Grimaldo in for this week without taking that hit. So happy enough with that. The rest of the team's looking perfectly fine. I think ideally, if I was to restart here, I would pick a different striker than one of Alvarez and Griezmann, just so I didn't have the double up and could spread out a little bit more. I think my midfield's great. Musiala and Wirtz are two players who I had in the best possible team yesterday. I've still got Salah, hoping he doesn't get rested. If he does get rested, then I may take a hit and move to Phil Foden. I've got Gittins in there as well. Not really, too fond in Dortmund. It's still a really good fixture for them, though. They've got a new manager. It could be really nice for him. So he's in there, happy enough to keep him in and hope he does well. The defence, again, I've mentioned it in yesterday's video. I think a 3-4-3 is going to be the best thing to do for match day, having the 3 defenders and then you're going maximum in the attack, because I don't think there's going to be too many clean sheets going around for this week. So I do have the 2 players for ball recoveries in Pacho and Alexandro. I've got Kim in there as well, and I've got Grimaldo, so one of those has to get benched. Timber's definitely going to go in the bench, and I think it's going to be Alexandro that I drop to the bench and play Kim, Grimaldo and Pacho. This is pretty much how that would look, obviously with just the starting 11 in place. Now obviously with Kim's injury, he may not be available either, so that could be another one to make a move on. Essentially, I think I've got enough money in the bank to move Kim to Grimaldo anyway, and that would mean playing Van Dijk, which I'm not totally against. Could maybe play Alexandro instead as well. But again, ideally, I'd want to get that Bayern triple up in, so I'd maybe take a hit there to get in Guerrero instead of Kim. Again, I think he should be okay, but we'll wait and see what happens, because I think Upamecano was also an injury risk this week, so Bayern could be left with barely any centre-backs available. But the team there, no hits taken, and I think I've got a very strong team heading into it. I really like the midfield, I really like the attack, and the defence is good enough for me not to take a hit. Pacho, I'm hoping he picks up ball recoveries. Stuttgart haven't been the best of teams in this tournament, so hopefully a clean sheet would be there as well. And obviously Kim and Grimaldo, two fantastic players for this week. I've got Israel, I think Sporting are about 5th, or I want to say 5th for clean sheet odds this week, so hopefully he can do well as well. But 100% it is going to be Kane and Grimaldo that do come in for me when it comes to transfers. Everyone in this team should play. The only ones I'm a little bit worried about is going to be Kim and Salah. I can't see Salah getting rested, so I'm happy enough to keep him. Definitely wouldn't take a hit to bring out Salah. The only one that would potentially need a hit is Kim, and then I'd maybe go to Guerrero, but at the same time I'd maybe be tempted just to play one of Van Dijk or Alexandro. I think that's a decision that we make last minute, and again, if Salah does randomly get benched, I'll probably take the hit and move to Phil Foden for him. So that's how the team is looking for the final matches in the league stage. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Are these the right transfers? Are you going to be taking any hits as well this week? Because I'd like to know how many people that don't have chips remaining are going to be taking hits. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. Again, make sure to check out the best possible team for Matchday 8. It'll be on screen right now. And make sure to subscribe as well for more UCL content. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. Good luck for the final match day, and I'll see you all in the next one.